Today's episode of Necronomipod is brought to you by Beardology. There are a lot of imitators out there, but there's only one place I buy my beard oil. Beardology beard oil nourishes your skin and won't leave you with that greasy feel. With over 17 cents available in their extensive product line, I trust my beard to Beardology. You can find Beardology at beardology.co. Use code NECRO15 to receive 15% off your purchase. Beardology. Discover the best way to avoid the shave. In the final part of our series on Jonestown, we look at Jim Jones's arrival to Guyana and Jonestown itself. We also discuss how Jim's presence in Jonestown drastically changed the mood and atmosphere of the once peaceful town. How did Jonestown start to fall apart? How did Jim handle the failures of Jonestown? And how did 918 people end up dead? Let's wrap this bad boy up. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you're a fan of happy endings, you may want to turn this off and head to the massage parlor, because this tragic tale does not end well. This is Necronomipod.
Love is the only weapon. Shit! Bullshit! Martin Luther King died with love. Kennedy died talking about something he couldn't even understand, some kind of generalized love, and he never even backed it up. He shut down. Bullshit! Love is the only weapon with which I got to fight. I got a hell of a lot of weapons to fight. I got my claws, I got compasses, I got guns, I got dynamite, I got a hell of a lot to fight. I'll fight, I'll fight, I will fight, I will fight, I will fight, I will fight. Let the night roar, because they can hear us. They know we mean it. We'll kill them as they come.
So this is it, the end of the road. It's been a long, tumultuous journey.
Yeah.
3 parts, 3 episodes.
Ian is visibly excited.
A lot of research you did. You said you did some extra research for this episode. You're stoked.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit extra research, yeah, outside of what I already knew.
So this is the big finale then of Jonestown.
Yeah, it's not like a good like fireworks finale. It's
well, as we already heard from Dave, it's not quite a happy ending. You can go get that at your local masseuse.
Yeah, so what we're gonna get into in this one is how Jim took the People's Temple, which he built for 27 years, and in a year and 3 months tore the whole thing down and took 918 people with him.
Let's get into it.
Like we said in the last one, the New West article came out and it exposed everything. It exposed the fake healings, the money fraud with the kids that were foster kids, the punishments, everything was exposed.
So everyone in the U.S. knew he was a fraud at this point.
And like we said before, as that article was coming out, he was already on a plane to Jonestown.
Because he knew.
Right.
Oh, exactly. So before he arrived in Jonestown, it was a really peaceful place to live. Like we were saying before, work was extremely hard, but they were getting it done. Everyone was getting along. Everyone was happy. But then
all of that under Mr. Muggs' watch while he's running the show down there.
The best foreman you could ever have.
Yeah. Foreman, leader, mayor, prince.
Prince.
King, really.
Yeah, because like we said in the last one, it started out as 12 guys and Mr. Muggs, and then it went up to 60 guys and Mr. Muggs. And everyone
he kept them in line.
Yep. And everyone was happy. And then Jim Jones rolls in, and almost overnight, it went from 60 people to pushing 1,000 people. And it was just straight up chaotic and unsustainable because Jonestown was only supposed to house 500 to 600 people.
How many were there?
That actually died in Jonestown that day were 909. But there were more. I mean, there were people that defected throughout that last year.
So it's safe to say it was at double capacity.
Yeah, yeah.
If Mr. Muggs would have had the adequate, construction crew to build the place correctly.
Right. He was working based on 500 to 600 people, and they weren't ready for completion yet. Jim Jones jumped the gun. I will not stand for Mr. Muggs getting a bad rap in this situation.
Well, that's the thing is that Jim Jones was a long game guy. You know, he slowly did all this stuff, and that's how he was successful building the People's Temple and getting people to follow him. And this just blew up overnight, and that's not the way he worked.
And he couldn't control it.
Yeah. And I mean, on top of that, he had all the drugs and everything. Like, it was just complete chaos.
Sounds great.
And besides it being double capacity, a third of the people were children, a third were elderly, and a third were young adults. So there you got 2/3 of people that were basically useless when it comes to work.
Yeah.
And
Gaining all those people, but not getting the same manpower or an equivalent ratio of manpower to get everything set up.
yeah, and they weren't able to produce enough food for everybody either. You know, I mean, it was
Because the soil was bad, like we learned last week, right?
yeah, I mean, they were able to produce some stuff, but it was just too much. There was too many people there for it. So before we actually get into it, I want to go over a couple people that came with Jim that without these people, none of this would have been possible. So by the time he got to Jonestown was basically being ran by Carolyn Layton, Maria Katsaris, and Annie Moore, which was Carolyn Layton's sister. Those three women were deathly loyal to Jim Jones, and they doubled down on every wild thing he said or came up with. We didn't talk about Maria Katsaris in the last episode, but she was one of Jim's mistresses that came into the picture while Carolyn was off giving birth to Jim John Prokes, or her side mission, getting that nuke in Mexico.
Right.
She was multitasking. Was one of these the ugly women that didn't make the fuck schedule but had to run the fuck schedule?
No.
Okay.
No.
Whatever happened to that girl?
Yeah, Patty Carmel died in Jonestown.
Were all three of these girls on the fuck schedule?
Carolyn and Maria were. Annie Moore was not.
She didn't make the cut.
Well, she was Carolyn's sister. I mean, for Jim.
I don't think that matters to Jim. We've already shown he don't give a shit.
Right.
So these all sound like white women. Wasn't the congregation mostly African Americans? Were there not any African American women that were his mistresses?
Yeah, so remember last episode we said bourgeois was a huge insult? Like if you did anything extra, you were bourgeois, you had a bourgeois attitude, whatever.
Right.
He was questioned about this in the planning commission, like, why don't you fuck black women? His response to that was that black women didn't have bourgeois attitudes, and he needed to fuck the bourgeois attitudes out of the white women to snap them out of that attitude.
This guy's an ass clown. Ridiculous. Great. Good answer, Jimmy.
But yeah, so
Like, don't the rest of the congregation see that? Like,
well,
seriously.
that's the Gang of Eight saw it. I mean, that was part of the problem they had, was that the inner circle was all white except for Archie Imus. Was the only black guy that was part of the real inner circle.
I think anyone who saw the bullshit got out, left, and then tried going after him. I think we're going to talk about that one group in a little bit later today, right? That all were defectors.
Yeah.
That exposed as bullshit. Why the other 1,000 people didn't, I don't know. But
Okay.
Yeah, so going back to Maria, like I said, she came in while Karen was off giving birth, and she was only 20 something at the time when she started her affair with Jim, and people said that she was just a really shy person, really quiet, and something snapped in her brain whenever she hooked up with Jim Jones, because she just turned into just this authoritarian, just basically almost like took over that side of Jim Jones, that personality.
like feeling like she was in a position of power or had power or was protected by her, by him.
I mean, an example of how loyal she was to him. Her dad was an airplane pilot, so Jim encouraged her to take flying lessons. So she learned how to fly a plane, and then one of her ideas was just to crash the plane and with a bunch of people on it, just to prove a fucking point. Not kill anybody else, just commit the revolutionary suicide by crashing a plane.
She's the Muhammad Atta of Jonestown. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, and she can, if anybody has listened to the death tape or does after this, she's the woman that's given orders for people to get in line behind the table and telling people that the kids aren't in any pain while they're dying and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's
great.
And so the other person that this wouldn't have been possible without was a guy named Larry Schacht. He was a drug addict that the People's Temple took in and got clean, and Jim saw potential in him. So he sent him down to medical school in Mexico, and he became a doctor. So he was also deathly loyal to Jim Jones, and I mean, he turned this guy's life around, made him a doctor. So he was loyal,
Yeah, of course. Was it a real medical school in Mexico? Just asking for a friend.
They must have been giving discounts down there because medical school going to buy nukes down there.
That's right.
He knew all the good
Everything,
hot spots.
all the good stuff's in Mexico.
So once he got into Jonestown, the mood just completely mirrored his mood, and things got real dark real fast. He immediately started to micromanage the lives of members, even down to their romantic relationships. Like, they would have to apply to start a relationship with each other, and then if they wanted to break up, they would have to apply for that and get the okay for that.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, this is going from he was running a cult, you know, but now this is like boot camp cult status now. I mean,
I'm sure it was frowned upon if you submitted an application to date someone on the fuck schedule. Was it stamped denied immediately?
And the big difference with his mood and everything versus when he was in the U.S. was he was able to get away from people. Like we said before, he took those trips with his kids and said they were secret missions for the cause, but really they were vacations.
He was getting away. It was his little respite from being on all the time.
Right, but now he's surrounded by everybody, and he has to be on literally now 24 hours a day.
Which means more drugs, which means more which means more drugs. It
Yeah.
just, cascades.
The compound was set up with a loudspeaker system that Jim would just speak on for hours a day while everybody's working. And like they played music sometimes.
You mean he didn't do any manual labor himself?
Fuck no.
Wow,
That's
shocked.
really weird.
He's never done anything like that.
Well, he kept to a very rigid fuck schedule. I mean, I would imagine that's exhausting.
He got cockburn. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like he didn't suffer
Back
injuries.
sore. Yeah.
There's evidence of that on the tape. He talks about getting fucking till his dick's raw for the cause and
See?
stuff.
I knew it. Mr. Muggs is out there building this place.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he would just talk and talk all day long on this loudspeaker system. And if he was too fucked up on drugs, they would just put in a tape of him talking. And then after that, after you just put in a 12-hour day of work, you've been working, then you go to the pavilion and listen to him talk in person. And he would read the news. He would just grab a newspaper and just like start doing bits, like just reading shit off the newspaper, giving instructions out, ranting about all his paranoid beliefs with the FBI, the CIA, all this shit. Or they would issue their punishments.
I'm not seeing the upside of this cult yet.
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, this went from you were doing good work, but there was all this shit going on behind the scenes to now this is like, it's almost like a concentration camp.
Yeah, it sounds like it at this point.
So the people there, I mean, he was a constant presence in their lives from morning till night, you know, hearing nothing but his paranoid bullshit.
How big was Jonestown?
It was pretty big.
Like landmass wise?
Landmass wise. Like, are we talking like a big neighborhood? Or is it just like a big open field with like a bunch of like cottages built on it?
Was
like,
it surrounded by jungle on all sides or on three sides? Or what was the layout?
So yeah, we can get into it now and just get a mood for now. We're talking about how they listened to him 24 hours a day. So Jonestown was set up. They just basically cleared out a big area of the jungle, and they had a bunch of houses, the pavilion, all their farm, you know, and animal pens and shit. But it was surrounded by just thick jungle.
Mm-hmm. That's intimidating in itself.
So
there's no way out.
No, the only way to get out of there was to go. It's like a 5-mile walk to Port Kaituma, and then you either take a boat or an airplane to the capital, Georgetown. Or you go and try and chance it in the jungle, and there was a railroad that went to Georgetown, but it was way far out, and you could hop a ride on there if you were lucky enough to get that far.
Well, the Jaguar's getting you.
Yeah,
right.
So there was no way out of this situation. To keep people on edge, Jim really ramped up the idea that things were getting bad in the U.S., and he constantly warned everybody that they should think twice about ever wanting to go back because his prophecies were coming true that minorities were being put into concentration camps and the KKK were taking over full towns and stuff.
And they had no idea because they just believed what he said.
Well, all mail going out was filtered, and all mail coming in was filtered. So if anybody was writing a family member back in the U.S. and was like, "Hey, Jim's talking about all this bad shit happening. Are you guys okay?" Boom. In
It's
the
like
garbage.
prison.
Yeah, it's in the garbage immediately. And if somebody's writing them trying to figure out, how they're doing down there or questioning anything, basically anything,
It wouldn't get to them.
yeah, basically anything that wasn't saying I love Jonestown was in the garbage. So, but family members back in the U.S. they knew something was up. I mean, and they started talking to each other. And one of the examples that they noticed when they were, especially got ones that had daughters, they were comparing them. And they all noticed the same thing, that their daughters were saying it was great, and they were engaged to Dr. Larry Schacht.
All of them.
All of them, which would be like trying to put him at ease, like, oh, my daughter's getting married to a doctor. Things
Right.
are going great.
Right.
Well, in all fairness, this is Jonestown. Would it be that far-fetched to assume that Jim Jones and this doctor believed he was going to marry all of these women, and they'd be added to Dr. Larry's fuck schedule?
I don't think Dr. Schacht was allowed to have a fuck schedule.
Okay.
Jim was the only one allowed
He
to
was
do
the only
that.
one allowed.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they just had these form letters they stamped. I'm marrying Dr.
Yeah.
Shack. No, I'm marrying Dr.
And then just sign
Shack.
your name and send it off.
Right.
Yep. And who knows? Those letters very well could have just been crafted by someone else.
I'm
one of the
sure.
They don't even know
higher-ups.
they were sent. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually, from family members getting together and talking, they created the Concerned Relatives group. It was started by Deanna and Elmer Myrtle, who changed their names to Jeannie and Al Mills due to constant harassment from the People's Temple.
Well, way to fucking out them then. Jeez.
Well, they're dead now.
Well, probably because people like you outed them and the People's Temple got to them.
So how many people were still back in the U.S., though, that they could harass people?
There was a lot. I mean,
Was there?
At the height of this, there was almost 7,000 members.
So only about 1,000 were in Guyana and the rest were still in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Okay.
Can you imagine Mr. Muggs if 7,000 people showed up?
He's one chimp. He can't do everything.
Exactly. Well, what do they expect of this guy? Ugh. So the Concerned Relatives were legitimately just concerned relatives. They weren't made up of any defectors.
Yeah.
They were.
Defectors, yeah.
Defectors, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Deanna Myrtle and Elmer Myrtle were defectors. And like I said, they changed their names due to harassment. But the ones that headed up, the main one that headed it up starting it out was Grace Stone, because she wanted to get John Victor out of there. And then Debbie Layton, which was Carolyn Layton's sister-in-law, eventually defected, and she came back and told of all the poison tests that were going on and all the craziness.
So it was a mix of defectors and concerned relatives,
Right.
and people who legit just called them out on their bullshit that
Yeah.
Jonestown or Jim Jones was all about.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, they were really pushing this because they knew, and some of them had actually been there for the poison tests and all the talk of revolutionary suicide, and but the concerned relatives would really become a problem for Jim when he got his most high-profile defector yet, which was Tim Stone.
Who was the big attorney
Yeah.
who Jim impregnated his wife and made him write that letter that we talked
Right.
about last week. Yeah.
Speaking of the letter, because you were excited about Jimmy Carter, the letter. Do you remember talking about that?
Jimmy, I remember his Jimmy Carter's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember I said that he wrote a note, or the letter was written to Jimmy Carter?
I'm sorry, yes.
So I was going back through it because I was looking for a quote that we could read that could be funny, but it was just basically him telling them, why they're being persecuted or whatever. But he made sure to attach that affidavit about Tim Stone letting Jim fuck his wife to that letter to Jimmy Carter to explain why this is happening. And
Oh my God.
Wow.
yeah, the letter was titled "Urgent, Urgent, Urgent" in all caps, and Jimmy did not respond.
Oh, good.
He was a little busy.
Yeah. But Tim, he flew back and forth from Guyana to the U.S. to handle legal matters and business stuff for the People's Temple. He had seen how bad things were getting in Jonestown with the punishments and just how fucked up Jim was getting on drugs, where he was like basically losing his mind. And then Jim started to turn on Tim Stone and claim that he was a CIA agent working against him.
So how did he get away if Jim turned on him?
Because he was flying back and forth to the U.S. for legal things.
But Jim still let him fly in and out, even though he was turning on him?
Yeah, so Tim flew out, and the last time he went to the U.S., he was like, I'm not fucking going back.
Because he had a feeling.
Right. So he met up with his ex-wife, Grace Stone, and said, shit's getting real bad there. We need to do something and get John Victor out of there, because Grace wasn't going to be able to take John Victor when she defected because Tim was still in the cult and she wasn't getting him. And now there's 1,000 people that Jim's ranting to every day, and he's got armed guards. There's no way Tim was going to ever get out of Jonestown with the kid either.
Yeah. So perhaps if they would have worked together up front initially, they could have got the kid out before all this stuff started.
Yeah, if Tim would have wisened up a little bit.
Late to, right.
But so Tim, being, the aggressive lawyer, he was putting major pressure on the U.S. government to look into Jonestown. And Tim and Grace launched a really aggressive custody case for John Victor, which Jim Jones started ignoring court hearings. The U.S. courts were sending him letters down to Guyana, like summons, saying you need to come to court. And he just was ignoring them, not showing them up. And that at that point, after multiple times of doing that basically made him a refugee in Guyana. At that point, he couldn't come back to the States because he would be arrested for skipping out on all these court dates.
Right.
With the drugs and the paranoia and everything, he became obsessed with Tim Stone, getting to the point of meetings being held in the pavilion with members reading out loud essays that they wrote about how they'd kill Tim Stone. And also
real feel-good moments all around.
Yeah. And then also in response to the concerned relatives, they would start holding meetings on how they would kill and torture their relatives.
So it's like poetry slam night at Jonestown now? Yeah. Did Mr. Muggs join in with the poetry slam night?
He might have. But he's slamming everybody for showing the fuck up.
I know I'm a chimp, that much is true, but I need my own fuck schedule. How about you?
Damn it.
I'm Mr. Muggs and Jim is a loon. I'm only here for the Guyana chimp poon.
Mr. Muggs is the hero of the story.
He has to be. There's no other. There's no other fucking heroes in the story.
So I'm gonna play two clips. The first one is Jim talking about what he would do to Tim Stone, and this one's important. It's only a minute and a half long, but it shows Jim's tactics all in 1 minute. And then the second clip we're gonna play is how they said they would kill and torture their family members. And the laughter you hear on it is Jim Jones, and it's like absolute madness on tape. It's fucking ridiculous.
I could kill him. I could really kill him. Literally kill him. He's a son of a bitch to do what he did to me, to this people, to do what he did. I don't give a goddamn to me because it's you that he can't hurt me. I wish it was just me and him. Goddamn his ass. I'd drive him crazy. But I've got to watch every move I take because it could hurt a Gene Brown or Leona back there or a Guy Young or a whole host of other people. Lots of people back there at Alice that need a chance, a Dennis that need a chance, on down the line of Louis Davis, on. I'd get him tonight. I got the man that'll get him. All I got to do is say the word, go. I love those people too much. It's not worth it. His white ass ain't worth it. Let him live. Yeah, but the only one little catch to that. If he ever gets in a court of law, he can hurt you more. So Dad's always moving back and forth like the pendulum, wondering about it. It's not an easy decision.
What I like to do is my so-called mom, the bitch. She hates purse snatchers. I would like to disguise myself and beat the bitch up and drag her ass. Drag her ass. I beat the bitch up, I swear, and then I blow the motherfucking ass right off the earth. I personally like to do that myself.
We told him when she started shit, we were trying to make, be nice and win people. We said, write a nice letter. And the fucking letter, it was a goddamn letter. Had to rewrite it 4 times to get it to be nice. You fucking bitch, you don't mess with me, I'll kill you. His mother. Sarah said they gave up on the fourth time, just let it go. He's J.J. Tumble. She hates purse snatchers. That's why I had to bail your ass out.
I think that I should take a knife and cut Mr. Tupper all up real good. And,
cut him up real good.
And then make him look like, cut him up and then put poison in him and invite all my relatives over there and have them eat him and then all done.
You've been talking to Reb. That's what you've been doing.
My mom is a damn fool. I hope I knock the fucking shit out of you.
I'm glad I put my life on the line to save you. Say my mom was a goddamn fool. I had to beat the fucking shit out of her.
I dare her come out because I'll be the one that's I'm a shot her.
Good. My mom was a goddamn fool. These kids, there's tough kids coming up here, honey.
That second one both are pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
That second one is just disturbing how those people are talking about family members and relatives like that.
Yeah.
The guy's out of his mind with that fucking cackling.
Yeah, that was really creepy and weird.
Yeah, I mean, the Tim Stone one is basically just to show that double speak where he's keeping people off guard, saying, well, I could kill him, but he could hurt you if he got into the court. It's like, well, right. You just said you could kill him. Right. So, and then he's doing the politician thing, just calling people out by name throughout the crowd. But yeah, that second one.
He was saying a whole lot of nothing while saying like a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't actually say anything.
Right. But the second one is just, like I said, it's like madness on tape. People are starved, they're exhausted, and all they have to listen to all day is Jim Jones talking this way.
So at this point when we're listening to these tapes, how long has everyone been there?
I think that tape was from April. So that would be, Jim showed up in August of 77. And that tape, I believe that tape was from
8 months.
Yeah. I believe that tape was April of 78.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's like we were talking before we were recording, they were only eating 2 meals a day, which was rice and just a little bit of meat, and then working constantly. So everyone's starved and exhausted.
Right. I bet Jim wasn't eating just that little bit.
Oh no, he had all kind of snacks and shit in his cabin, and he even had a mini fridge in his cabin with like Coke and shit.
Coke, a fuck schedule, snacks.
Yeah,
great.
Jim wasn't living that socialist life that he was.
Interesting. They never do that.
Punishments took a major turn from what they were in the U.S. because we said in the U.S. they would do those forced fights where you had to fight someone that you couldn't beat,
and the genital beating the cock on the table.
Oh yeah,
that sounded pretty bad.
Yeah, that guy got fucked up big time.
Unrecognizable, I believe, was the term that was used.
Yeah, and then they would just scream each other down and stuff like that. But now it was getting to the point where if you bitched about something, like you didn't get as much food as someone else, you were put on the learning crew. That was your first step. The learning crew is just hard labor. That were like 12-hour work days that were just, you didn't get breaks. You were just hard labor the whole time.
It's like Soviet re-education camps.
Yeah. And you'd usually get on that for 2 to 3 days. And when that didn't work, you would get the public beatings and getting screamed down.
That's where the ball beating came in.
And then if you still fucked up, there was a good chance that you were going to get put in the box. And the box
Not
was...
the Jim Jones fuck schedule box.
No.
Not Maria's box.
No, this was a 6 foot long, 4 foot wide box that was buried into the ground.
Essentially, it's a casket.
Yeah. And like a sensory deprivation thing. And they would be blindfolded and put in there. And there's a bunch of tapes throughout where the box is mentioned, people being beaten, screamed at, using the jungle as punishment with the animals that were in there. And we're going to play a few clips here where he's talking about a poisonous frog that they caught in the jungle that they'll throw in the box with someone.
Oh my gosh.
What a dick this guy is.
And then like he always used the term the tiger out in the jungle that he would threaten people with, which I looked that up. They actually don't have tigers in Guyana. It's jaguars.
But why would Jim Jones say something that wasn't true?
That's a first.
Yeah.
And if all that stuff didn't work, then you would be taken to Dr. Larry Schacht in what they called the special care unit, and basically you would be just drugged into a zombie-like state and just kept there.
Which
sounds better
is
than
the
being
best option.
Yeah, 100%.
In all of this, that's what I want.
Well,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, those drugged people in the special care unit were the guinea pigs for the Flavor Aid.
I was just going to ask what they end up doing. So they would just shoot them up with the Flavor Aid
to make sure
and
it worked.
They would all die.
Fine tuning the cyanide.
But you know
levels.
what? Fine. I'd still rather be in a zombie-like state when that happens.
Than dealing with all this shit.
Don't suffer with all the pain.
I'm going to play a couple more clips. 3 of these clips are from a kid. He was 15 named Willie Malone. He's just, from listening to tapes, he's not doing anything except smarting off. And I guess like a teenage kid, just not wanting to do the work and whatever. But so he's threatened with the box and the frog and publicly beaten. And then we're going to get into a woman that was terrified of snakes that they put on her as punishment because nothing else worked. And just to clarify, in the one Willie Malone one, when they say being hostile to Mother, he's talking about Marceline because this kid smarted off to Marceline. In Jonestown, Marceline was called Mother. Well, she was called Mother for a long time. But then when Jim got to Jonestown, he wasn't called Father anymore. He was called Dad. He required everyone to call him Dad.
Interesting.
So here's these clips.
A nice little twist.
And he said, like, only way you can survive, like, if you be in a box, and if you take off your clothes, keep on putting them back on, you never, lose your head, nothing like that. And he think he's going to survive in the box.
No, he's great punk. Put him in the fucking box with the frog tonight. Then see if you can stay away from the frog. One touch of the fucking frog. How about that, Willie boy? Big old ganglang Willie boy. How about going in the box tonight with the frog?
Dad,
How about the frog?
Truthfully,
Why don't you get the frog? Why don't you put your hand in there with the frog?
Dad.
Come on, Willie boy. Put your hand in there. Put your hand in there, Willie boy. Put your hand in there. Put your hand in there, Willie boy. We might as well be free from you. Nobody else see it.
Thank you, Billy. I told you to, right?
Dad, when you're talking about being a crazy...
Got no problem. It's your problem. You touch a frog, you're dead.
So you can take anything you said.
You take anything. How about Willie? Want to touch a frog tonight, Willie? You punk. You goddamn gangland punk. You've caused us trouble week after week, month after month. Got my blood pressure boiling. Punk. You want the seniors? You want the seniors?
Dad, really?
John, get out of the way. Let the seniors have it.
Come on, Willie. So tough now.
All right. You want some more of the seniors?
No, I appreciate better than these rest of these guys.
You want to keep being smart ass, huh? You want to keep being smart ass? I have put those people in charge, motherfucker. Willie Malone shoved Carol Kearns in the face yesterday, abusive and threatening, called her and Karen Lindo's name, loud and mouthy in an apartment this morning, taken to coordinator's office both times, hostile to Penny and Mother. And Mother. Stand up! Don't you give no shit to Mother.
Got your nerve. I'm so fucking tough yesterday.
Okay. Get her away. Bag him off. Give it to her. I'm sick of this shit. Let her deal with it, motherfucker. If he wants to choke her to death, that's his business tonight. I'm tired of it.
You said the same thing the last time. So this is the next.
Turn around, look at the people. Turn around, look at the people. Talk to them. See if they want to get the snake off your back.
I apologize. I never promised I wouldn't do it again. I never promised I wouldn't do it again. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I won't do it again. I really promise. I'm married again.
Nothing else works for this woman. This only lasts 6-7 days. If we fed it to her, maybe that might work. I don't know. Okay.
And mother, and mother, and mother. So I have two questions on those tapes. One, who was doing the beatings?
Everybody.
They just like walk up there and just smack the shit out of him?
Yeah, so the first one of Willie getting beat up when he's saying, do you want some more of the seniors? He's letting the old people there beat him up.
With their canes and their walkers, just beating the fuck out of him.
Yeah, and then the second one where he talks shit to Marcelin, it sounds like some woman in the group is beating on him. Someone else said stand up or whatever. And
yeah.
So.
And then what did the snake lady do?
She just complained about the food she was getting, like she wasn't getting enough food or whatever.
Yeah, motherfucker, yeah. I'm starving out here.
Yeah, how dare her be hungry?
Yeah, so that snake clip and the frog clip are probably, those are the two best examples on tape of.
Did they really have a poisonous frog?
Yeah. Yeah, he had it because
poisonous frogs, Dave, are like hypnosis. It's not real.
Because later in the recording, he says like when they're all yelling at Willie to put his hand in with the frog, then there's like a little scuffle sound, and Jim's like, "Oh shit, did the son of a bitch jump out?" So I mean, they had the frog.
Yikes.
So I mean, obviously those tapes are. I mean, it's terrible. And you would think that initially you could think like, why didn't people just leave? But like we talked about earlier, there really wasn't a way out. There was no way to get out of there. You know, you got the jungle. And
they technically weren't allowed to leave, right?
Or no, absolutely not.
Right. So they would have to sneak out, run away, either through a jungle or follow that path, but have to have a boat or a plane.
Right. And there was armed people at the gates,
so they were almost imprisoned at this point.
Yeah,
I think I'm taking my chances in the jungle.
I think I probably would too.
This is just out of control.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get out the gate, obviously.
But there's nowhere for you to go once you get to Port Kaituma unless you had a boat or an airplane.
Right, but the jungle was to the train, which took you where?
It would take, but you would have to get lucky and be able to hop on a train or get them to get to Georgetown.
I feel like that would be my best. I would do that, I think.
And it was also getting to the point where Jim's sitting there talking about Tim Stone and stuff, and then he starts saying, well, betrayal, people that betray him should be killed. And you're like, well, wait a second. If you defect, that's a betrayal. So what are you saying now? Are you saying that
you're right.
I'm going to be killed?
No, it's hard to put yourself in these people's
Well, the other thing to think of too is
spots.
like we had talked about, they're starved, they're famished. You're going to go 5 miles to the jungle or whatever. You're not going to.
No, it's tough.
You're going to be. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. And I mean, and the other thing too is as soon as people got into Jonestown, all their passports were taken and kept in Jim's cabin. Like when they went in and were investigating everything afterwards, they just found hundreds and hundreds of passports in there. So
you can always get to the embassy.
Yeah.
Well, that would be what you'd have to do, sure.
Yeah.
With avoiding all those court orders in the U.S. for John Victor, a court order was now issued for Jim to appear in a Guyanese court. So Jim tried to get a hold of the Guyanese deputy prime minister to straighten it out, but the deputy prime minister was in the U.S. on business. So with Jim's paranoia, he thought that the deputy prime minister being in the U.S. had to do with the custody battle for John Victor, and he freaked out.
Because everything's about him, so of course that's what he was doing in the U.S.
So Jim decided it was an emergency. To make his delusion real to the rest of the population of Jonestown, he had his son go out into the jungle and shoot at Jim's cabin. But this time he was using real bullets. It wasn't blanks like he was doing back in San Francisco and shit. And Jim kept this a secret from everybody, including his security team, they started shooting back into the jungle. So
because he could have shot his son.
Yeah.
Well, why the fuck does he care?
Right.
Jim Jones doesn't care.
So for the next 6 days, Jonestown was at war, or basically, the followers at least thought they were. Jim told them that the Guyanese military were coming in to take John Victor. We were already talking like trying to put yourself in that position of with the punishments and stuff. Now there's gunshots ringing out from the jungle. He's telling you the military's coming to take kids and stuff. And a lot of these guns, people didn't even know were in Jonestown because he was smuggling these in, talking on the ham radio. They would call them Bibles. You got to think people are tired and all that, like we were saying. But now
they're probably terrified. They think they're under attack. They're believing his bullshit.
Right.
They believed it since day one. So why wouldn't they now that they've been beaten down and starved and whatever?
Right.
So yeah, that would be terrifying, thinking that you're under attack.
Right.
Then I think brings you closer to the cause and together.
Oh, exactly.
You're going to support him more because you see him as your protector.
Right. And yeah, and I skipped over a little bit earlier, but yeah, they were bringing in the guns through talking about them on the ham radio, saying that they were Bibles. And he was so worried about the CIA and this stuff with the prime minister, the deputy prime minister leaving, but those weren't real. The only real stuff that he was facing were things like the Social Security Department holding checks for seniors, and the FCC getting pissed off about him using the ham radio for business and stuff.
Again, a fucking egomaniac. Like it's just
yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, people should be fucking coming after him,
right?
But he's blowing it up in his head like the whole country's coming after him.
Yeah.
And they're not really thinking twice about him.
Right. So yeah, they were all marched out to the pavilion and told that the government or the Guyanese military is coming. And after 2 days, when nothing happened, Jim told everyone they needed to get to Port Kaituma to take a boat to Cuba. So they all hiked to Port Kaituma, which, like we said before, is about a 5 mile walk up, to get there. This wasn't like a casual hike or anything. This was like a panicked rush of like almost 1,000 people trying to get out of there, thinking that the military's coming for them.
Yeah, I'm sure you need a machete to hack through the jungle. It's not.
It's thick.
Yeah, walking through a national park trail.
Right.
So they got to Port Kaituma and started getting on the boat, but an elderly lady fell and broke her hip. So Jim just called that off and said they needed to go back to Jonestown.
Nope. You know what? It's safe now. Let's go back.
Did they have any sort of a relationship or arrangements with Cuba?
Nothing real.
What was the real? There was no plan then.
No. He would always say Cuba and he would say Russia and stuff, but there was no reality to any of that. So when they got back to Jonestown, Jim got on the ham radio with Marceline because she was still in the U.S. in San Francisco doing stuff. He told her what was going on and what he thought the prime minister was doing. He said, we're all ready to die. We're going to do revolutionary suicide. And she knew that was a for real threat, So she started busting her ass to figure out where this guy was. And I don't know how she did it, but she tracked the guy down. And he was in Indiana, of all places in the U.S. to be.
Why was the deputy prime minister of Guyana in Indiana at this time?
He was at the local Hooters in Fort Wayne. Relax about it. He's got his reasons.
Where Jim Jones was born and started all this stuff.
It's crazy.
But he got on the ham with Jim and told him to calm down. Everything was fine. He was there on business that didn't have to do with Jonestown. And so Jim just announced to his followers that they won. Didn't tell them what they won or how they won it. Just they won.
I did it. I saved you all.
Yeah.
This is just complete insanity.
Now go eat your rice. I'm going to go drink some Coca-Cola and eat some Twinkies in my cabin.
But you got to think that lasted for 6 days of barely any sleep and this panic, Yeah. When I was watching that new documentary, the one woman that was there for it, she said that they had everybody was armed with like shovels and shit, like everybody was ready to go.
It's just off the charts insanity.
Yeah. So they started calling it the 6-day siege and.
It's like a major military operation.
Right. And that was the first of many emergencies like that, and that Jim would eventually call the White Knights, which he was good at naming stuff. Jonestown kind of goes for itself, but the White Knights is and it's NIGHTS. It's got that, it's like got this like spooky feel to it almost, you know. It's like sounds kind of mysterious. It sounds real important. Just to me, I don't know. It's just got this like eerie kind of like
sure.
I'm announcing a white knight right now. You know, this sounds weird.
Does it mean we're gonna be up all night? Like, what's the?
It's like the 6-day siege. It means that some shit's really going down. This isn't like.
I mean, why white night? Like, because it's gonna be light all night, meaning we're gonna be up all night or something like that.
I think he was throwing a little bit of the racial twist on it, like the white knight. You know, who's
like
coming
he's
for
the
him.
white knight.
Well, no, because it's
like
an
not like
NIG.
the white. Well, what playing off the wording of the white knight, like the knight in shining armor. He's here to save you all, but it's also just it's a nighttime. We're gonna talk about some shit that's serious now. That's different than my newspaper readings or whatever it might be.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, who knows why the fuck he named it that? You know,
right?
He's probably just doing a bunch of fucking blow all night.
Also,
that was white night.
Most likely,
he had mounds of cocaine in his fucking room.
Was he friends with Betty Hill?
Ridiculous.
But yeah, like you said, these weren't like other meetings. They were like that 6-day siege, but I mean, they didn't last for 6 days, but they were like that, and it was made completely clear during every white night that this could be the last night in Jonestown. That this could be the time where he pulls out the revolutionary suicide.
I hate this fucking guy so much.
In one of the tapes, he says that they've gone through 84 white nights together.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
And you don't know. I mean, who knows if he's talking shit, if that's an accurate number or not. But the tapes were recovered by the FBI. There's 16 tapes of white nights. So a year and 3 months, you do the 6-day siege, and then you do 16 other white nights that are all night events, being completely panicked. Yeah. I mean, 16 is more than enough.
You're just constantly keeping people on edge and terrified.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel like you're losing them, call a white knight, make up some bullshit reason why, and then they're back in the palm of your hands.
And a lot of them were he got a summons from the court over John Victor, and he would call White Knight and say they're gonna come in here and take him.
Right, the CIA, the FBI. It's just a fucking custody thing, dude. So where was Mr. Muggs through all of these? Like, where was he during these White Knight?
I will tell you, through the power and the science of Necronomipod, we have Mr. Muggs here in the studio with us tonight.
Really? Our first in-studio guest?
And I believe he's available to answer questions. I'm willing to translate for Mr. Muggs.
Well, that's awesome, because I have a few things I'd like to ask him.
He's open to taking your questions.
Mr. Muggs, thank you for joining us. It's pretty phenomenal that after what you've been through and what Jim Jones put you through, that you were able to make it back here today to sit here and be with us in studio. Our first studio guest at Necronomipod is Mr. Muggs. We might have to call this the Mr. Muggs Studio moving forward. I'm going to get right to it. Mr. Muggs, the question people want to know, were you ever on Jim's fuck schedule? We might need some translation, Dave.
I'm going to translate Mr. Muggs.
He's really upset. What did he say?
He said, Jim would call me if he ever had a no-show and maybe give him a hand job. He called it a mug job. Fucking hilarious, right? Asshole.
Wow. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Mug job.
Mug job.
Not a tug job, a mug job.
Thank you, Dave. All right. I know you got very limited time. What's your favorite kind of Flavor Aid? Man, he's fired up.
He said, I'm a lemon lime kind of chimp. I don't go for that grape shit. But look where the fuck that got me.
It's true. Did you even get to try any of that? I don't think you did.
I don't think it did either.
Any of the good stuff, at least. Mr. Muggs, where's the strangest place Jim ever put his dick?
All right, Mr. Muggs said, you mean besides Mr. Muggs' little chimp hands? I did see that fucker stirring the vat of Flavor Aid with his cock on the final day, so
no.
There's that, I guess.
That's terrible. What a twist to this whole story. It's cockade. Oh, enlightening. All right, I won't take up too much more of your time. Mr. Muggs, did you ever get to hook up with any chimp strange in the Guyana jungle?
Mr. Muggs said, "That's the only reason I came down to this shithole. Some sweet Guyana chimp poon. Then this asshole has me working all day, building this fucking compound. It sucked. I just wanted to fuck. I wanted a fuck schedule for me, Mr. Muggs."
I don't blame you, man. You put in a lot of work, a lot of effort, and they really messed it up by bringing all those people down. One last question for you, Mr. Muggs, before we let you go. Thank you so much for being here. Did Jim ever, in fact, meet you at the Rainbow Bridge?
Mr. Muggs said, "The Rainbow Bridge looked like a fucking petting zoo when I got there. Jim was the last one to arrive, and we ate that motherfucker."
There we go.
Mr. Muggs, thank you so much for being with us. Dave, thanks for translating all that.
Yeah. It's through the power of Necronomicon I'm able to understand what Mr. Muggs is saying there.
He never got his chance for like a farewell after he was unceremoniously disposed of.
Yeah.
And we gave him that last hurrah today.
Glad he could join us.
Those were, I think, the 5 questions that people wanted to know the most. I mean, if you look through, all the different message boards and the Reddit sites, that's what always pops up if you search what would you want to know from Mr. Muggs. And now we know.
That's where we pull those questions from. So, Mr. Muggs, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
You got all kind of abilities from doing this podcast with us, remote viewing.
What's coming
translating Mr. Muggs
with all that extra Necronomicon cash we're rolling in. We're able to afford all these all this technology.
The Guyanese government wasn't the only connection Jim had that he was worried about. There was also a Russian ambassador staying in Georgetown that would receive constant contact because Jim was looking for possible asylum if he needed it. And Russia did give Jim a little bit of attention, and they sent the ambassador there to do an inspection, but they had no intention of really taking the People's Temple members in ever.
Why would they?
Yeah.
They don't need that hassle.
Yeah.
The only thing that the ambassador said when he went there was that Jonestown was more socialist than Russia, that they should be taking lessons from Jim Jones.
Yep.
So with pressure mounting from the conservative relatives pushing the U.S. to do something, Jim got more paranoid with the whole FBI and CIA thing. But like I said earlier, in reality, it was just the FCC cracking down on him, customs checking stuff that was going in. There was no real threat from the FBI or the CIA.
Because he's a little pissant, and what do they care what he's fucking doing?
I mean, I think
at this point, they should care probably that he's about to kill 1,000 people or have
Back then, they didn't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Religious guy in Guyana. Like, so what?
Yeah.
Like, if this guy would have just gave up the fucking kid back to Tim.
He's an egomaniac and a drug addict and thinks that the whole world is looking out to get him.
Just stay in the jungle and do blow and live your socialist life. There's not really a big problem here.
I mean, I think if he would have played stuff straight in the U.S. and didn't have all the crazy shit going on, and there would have never been the New West article, I think he probably would have gotten the FBI's radar eventually, because they had a Huey Newton and stuff on the radar, and they were looking into the Black Panthers.
I'm sure they were watching him. Yeah, I don't mean that. Yeah, of course they were.
But they would have, I think, if he would have stayed in the U.S. and kept doing what he was doing, they probably would have started to pay more attention to him.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't this huge focus, I don't think. That's just the paranoia.
No. So on February 18th, 1978, this is where one of his white nights took an extremely dark turn. Jim told everyone that the CIA had infiltrated the Guyanese government, and soldiers were now gathering at Port Kaituma, blocking off any exits from Jonestown. So Jim decided it was time for revolutionary suicide, and the assistants brought out vats filled with Flavor Aid, and everyone was instructed to drink. The people who...
I thought it was Kool-Aid.
No. Come on.
What flavor was it? Because Mr. Muggs, he didn't like the grape.
It was grape.
Motherfucker.
It's probably why they blew his fucking head off. Oh, poor guy.
But people that were against the suicide were brought up to the front of the line at gunpoint, and that just set the
tone.
Yeah, that there wasn't going to be a choice.
It was aggressive. Like, you're either going to do this with us, or we're going to make you do it with us.
Right.
Either way, you're going to die.
Yeah. Like he said in his last his previous tests back in the U.S., that it would take 45 minutes, and after the 45 minutes passed, Jim told him it was just another test, and everyone passed.
He's the boy that cried wolf.
Yep.
Every time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, at this point, who knows if it's a test or not? But I mean, this one got a lot realer with taking people up at gunpoint and forcing them to drink.
I mean, just the stress level you're at after going through that over and over again is it's ridiculous.
That mixed with those white knights, mixed with that 6-day, what is it, the 6-day brigade?
The 6-day siege.
I mean, all of it. I'm taking my chances in the jungle. I'm getting the fuck out of there.
I can kill a fucking panther.
There were
cougar,
people.
What do you say, jaguar?
Jaguar, yeah.
I can kill one of those, no problem.
Well, I mean, there were people that tried to defect through the jungle, but they 9 times out of 10 they were tracked down, and they brought them back and put them in leg irons.
Man.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's a tough spot.
Yeah, and there's tapes on him talking about what to do with defectors, what is going to happen to you if you try to defect, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we brought up Debbie Layton before, but she had been able to defect through Georgetown, and once she got back into the U.S. and joined the Concerned Relatives, she started doing TV interviews talking about the poison test, because she was there for the White Knight that had the poison test with people at gunpoint. That caught the attention of Congressman Leo Ryan, and he already had the People's Temple on his radar from Bob Houston's death that we talked about in the last episode.
That's the guy that got hit by the train.
Right. And his dad was the AP photographer.
Right.
So with the Concerned Relatives pushing and now Debbie Layton talking about this stuff, Leo Ryan decided in November 1978 that he needed to go down to Jonestown and see what was going on for himself. And it wasn't a surprise thing. It was Leo Ryan sent this letter weeks in advance letting Jim know he was coming. And so along with Leo Ryan, it was 2 staffers, 9 members of the media, and 13 members of the Concerned Relatives were going to be coming to Jonestown.
Why no security team?
Yeah, so I think that Leo Ryan was expecting to come to Jonestown, be told to fuck off, that he wasn't coming in, and then he would just go back to the U.S. and open a congressional hearing.
Okay.
I'm not saying that he didn't actually want to do anything. I think he really did care about it.
But he thought he had to go down first, get rejected, and then start the wheels in motion kind of thing.
Right. I don't think he ever expected that they were actually going to let him in.
Okay.
And initially, Jim had no intentions of letting Leo Ryan in, but he was convinced by Marcelin to let them come in. Marcelin didn't want to see anybody die, and I think she figured this was the best chance to avoid this revolutionary suicide that Jim had been talking about and testing and stuff. Because if Leo Ryan saw it was good, then it would ease the paranoia of Jim Jones. And
realize maybe they're not out to get him. He just calmed this guy's concerns, and he took away the people who didn't want to be there, and that would be it.
Yeah.
And then they could just keep on living down there.
Right. And she wasn't there for the first White Knight, the 6-day siege. You know, she came about halfway through, and by the time she got there, shit was way off the rails already.
Yeah, but
and all of any power she had already been taken away when they were still in the U.S. Carolyn Layton, Maria Katsaris, and Annie Moore were already given all the power. You know, she just tried to slow things down, I guess. You know, behind the scenes, but by this time it was just too far gone. The women that all had the power were 100% convinced that dying was the only option, that there was no way out of this situation.
I guess there wasn't really a situation to get out of, though. That's what's so hard about to understand.
Absolutely not.
You're living in the jungle in this agrarian kind of socialist community. Just relax.
It's just drug-filled
No one gives
paranoia.
a fuck what you're doing.
No, they would have been just fine.
Right.
But then they start believing his shit. And then he's staging like these shootings and stuff. So they think that they're under attack.
Yeah. And I mean, and recovered by the FBI, that Carolyn wrote a document that was titled Analysis of Future Prospects, where she outlined all the reasons why Jonestown had absolutely no chance of survival. And there, down in the document, there was a section titled A Final Stand If Decided On, which she detailed how the mass suicide would be most effectively carried out if shit went bad with Leo Ryan.
And she was pilled out of her mind when she wrote all this too.
I think she was completely sober.
Why?
Have you read this document?
I've glossed over it. The final stand thing, she talks about maybe we can line everybody up and just shoot everybody. Maybe we can make a guillotine and just start chopping people's heads off. Like,
God.
It's fucking crazy. So before Leo Ryan arrived, Marcelin talked Jim into letting his son Steven and Jim Jr. go to Georgetown to play in a basketball game. They were part of a basketball league there. And this allowed Steven and Jim Jr. not to be there while Leo Ryan was there. And people debate if it was just a coincidence or if Marcelin saw the writing on the wall and got who she could get out of there.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences.
No, I think she knew.
Yeah,
I think she
absolutely.
knew shit was going down, and she figured these were the only two that she could get out, and if she could get them out, then good.
That's right.
So when Leo Ryan arrived, they were greeted at Port Kaituma by People's Temple members. And the only people that were allowed to enter Jonestown was Leo Ryan, one of his aides, and 8 members of the media. The 9th member of the media was someone from the National Enquirer, which Jim had. He had a major problem with the National Enquirer for whatever reason, and they wouldn't let that guy in.
I agree with that decision. I'm fine with that.
So, and when they got there, when they walked in, it looked like an absolute paradise. They had been busting ass to get everything ready and make it look perfect. And Jim, leading up to this too, on the tapes, he's rehearsing questions with people, like how they should answer questions and stuff. And he's using
making sure they're prepared to look as well as they could.
Yeah, and he's using what he called his reporter voice, where he's
boy,
he's talking like.
Is that like my radio voice?
Kind of, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Pretty much.
All right, we're back. Welcome, everybody. This is Mikey Mike, your host, sitting here with Easy Ian and Double D Dave, rocking you all night long on WNBC.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy because the tapes too with that, he's questioning. He's like, I heard you put people in boxes down here. He's like, is that true? And the guy's like, no, we don't do anything like that. But he's like,
well rehearsed answer. No, we don't do anything like that.
Well, and Jim corrects him. He's like, you need to be more.
Hey, probably smacked the shit out of him, threw a snake on him, threw him in a box, and then asked him how to answer the question.
But it's like he's telling them to say how crazy it is, the punishments, how crazy they are. But it's like you are doing that to people. It's like you're changing people's reality at that point. Mm-hmm. But that night they had a huge dinner, and it wasn't their normal shitty bowl of rice with a tiny bit of meat. They went out and slaughtered some pigs and made this whole pork dinner. And then they followed up dinner by people talking about how much they loved it in Jonestown, and it was great there. And then afterwards, there was a performance by the Jonestown Express.
So we haven't talked about them.
Yeah, it was like an R&B like soul group.
Were they good?
Yeah, they were super good. Huh. Yeah. There's tapes.
I mean, as good as R&B music can be.
It's like Earth, Wind, and Fire type stuff. It's like Earth, Wind, and Fire type stuff for back then.
Okay.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is pretty good.
Yeah, it's good shit. Yeah, I wish there was something that existed of the Jonestown Express besides a tape from the
not on
FBI.
iTunes? Damn.
No.
Doesn't buy their greatest hits.
Well, they have the People's Temple Choir on vinyl. You can find those floating around.
Really?
How much those go for?
A lot.
What's more expensive, a People's Temple vinyl or one of those portraits of Jim Jones that gives you protection?
I don't know, it'd probably be about the same price, I bet you.
I would say the vinyl would probably have to be more.
I guess it depends.
No one...
probably depends on if it's sealed
vinyl
or not.
doesn't protect you.
No one hit us up on whether or not they wanted our headshots signed. We got no responses on that. People want no pictures of us. So cancel our photo shoot.
I don't blame them.
I purchased 1,000 headshots and I've signed 500 of them so far.
Well, if anybody wants them.
With our prick audience.
Dave's selling in bulk. And now he's insulting the audience. Now nobody's ever going to want. They'll throw darts at him, maybe. All right, well, no pictures then, I guess. No one wants them. Now we're going to sit here and sulk.
But yeah, I mean, if you go back on the NBC footage archive from this, because I mean, they had camera crews filming all this stuff. You can see the Jonestown Express performing and stuff. It's pretty cool. But so after that, Leo Ryan got on the microphone and he gave positive feedback on what he was seeing. What he saw was all good. It looked great.
Yeah, but
and and people just started cheering crazy. And there's opinions on, from people that were there. His one aide that was there looking back on it, she said that it almost seemed rehearsed. And then I've heard other people say that it sounded like a victory, like, okay, he's cool with us now, we can relax finally,
One of Leo Ryan's aides, you mean?
Yeah.
Was it Jackie Spire?
Yeah, Jackie Spire. Yeah.
I had no, she's a congresswoman from California now, and I see her in congressional hearings and stuff. I had no idea she was involved in this, and I was reading it.
Yeah.
And she actually, was down here with Leo Ryan.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah, and she is the one. She's the one that said it sounded, looking back on it, to her, it sounded rehearsed.
Right.
But then, like I said, then there's other people that say it sounded like a victory, almost like, we did it. We can all chill out now. So all this good stuff's going on. Everybody's all happy. And then a member of the People's Temple, Vernon Gosney, passed a note to NBC's Don Harris that said, Vernon Gosney and Monica Bagsby, please help us get out of Jonestown. Vernon was trying to be sly about it, but he got nervous and dropped the note while he was trying to pass it. And a kid near him started yelling out, he passed a note, he passed a note.
A little punk.
Well, all the kids were trained to rat on people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Everybody was trained to rat on people in Jonestown. You couldn't, from watching stuff with people that survived, just saying you couldn't trust anybody, because if you said something, then someone would go back and you'd get brownie points for telling on somebody.
Yeah, that's how those cults are.
They did not live by the motto of snitches get stitches.
No. And Jim 100% had to have known that Vernon Gosney passed that note, but he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything about it that night. And the media members went back to Port Kaituma to sleep, while Leo Ryan and Jackie, how do you say her last name?
Spire. Congresswoman Jackie Spire.
Yeah, Jackie Spire. They went and her and Leo Ryan stayed in Jonestown that night. And with word of the note getting passed, people started seeing that shit was going to go south here. And 11 members decided to defect through the jungle that night. They were just like, we're getting the fuck out of here.
Because it was about to go down.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on that right after this.
We like to drink beer, a lot of it. After a long night of drinking and talking crime and conspiracies, there's nothing that wakes us up and gets us ready to start the day better than Just Brew coffee. With a great selection of roast levels to choose from, you're guaranteed to find one that suits your style. Small batch roasted to highlight the unique features of each coffee bean, Just Brew coffee caters to both casual and hardcore coffee drinkers alike. Since 2010, Just Brew Coffee has worked tirelessly to perfect the roasting process and technique, which has resulted in seriously delicious, always flavorful, and never bitter tasting coffee. If you're already drinking JBC, raise your mug. If you're not, raise your standards. Check them out in social media, and remember, they roast, you just brew.
Check out their new online store at youjustbrew.com and up your coffee game today. Use code NECRO15 to receive 15% off your order of 2 pounds or more.
All right, so let's get into the day itself. On November 18th, 1978, when Leo Ryan woke up early in the morning, he was almost immediately met with people who wanted to get out of Jonestown.
Because word spread, right, that the note got passed and everyone else is trying to...
And the 11 people defected overnight. And Jim Jones didn't come out of his cabin until noon. And as soon as he came out, he was told about the defectors that left overnight and that there were full families now that wanted to leave. People were taking their kids and leaving spouses behind. Members started screaming at the defectors. And you can see that on the NBC News footage. People are screaming, "You can't take my kids." And it just turned into absolute chaos. And then the NBC film crew cornered Jim Jones for a grueling interview with Don Harris that lasted for like 30 to 45 minutes, where he just grilled Jim Jones about the fact that people were leaving, and why they wanted to leave. Like, what are you hiding and stuff.
What did Jim say?
He played it off like with Vernon Gosney, because Vernon was leaving, and the woman, she was more like a caretaker of his kid, didn't want to leave. And so Jim was like, well, then why is this guy leaving his kid here, and stuff like that. He really wasn't, nothing of substance.
Right.
So as everybody was fighting, Leo Ryan was trying to figure out how to get people out of there, because he didn't have a plan for that. Like I said before, I think he was just expecting to get turned away and then and then open up a congressional hearing. And at minimum, he didn't have a plan for any of this because they only had the one plane.
He didn't have much of a plan at all.
No. As he was trying to figure stuff out, a massive storm blew in. And Tim Carter, that's one of the survivors from that day, he said that it felt like evil blowing into Jonestown. So now you've got all these people stuck in this pavilion with this crazy storm. Everybody's fighting and shit. Jim's getting questioned by NBC. It's just absolute chaos. So by the time the storm passed, 15 people had decided to leave, and along with the 11 overnight, the number was only 26. It wasn't that many people.
Yeah, out of 1,000, 26.
Right. And I mean, and I'm assuming there was a lot of people scared to say anything else, but it was 26, and Jim had his two lawyers there in Marceline, and they all thought that was great. Because there
weren't 500 people running up and trying to get out of there.
Right, because the lawyers figured they had the estimate being higher than, this was like a victory for them. Now Leo Ryan's going to go back and say, well, 26 people wanted to leave. Everybody else was happy, so there's nothing much to do. Jim didn't see it that way. One defector was enough for him.
He does not like failure.
No. So, and this is the most defection that, at one time that he's ever had. He would freak out over one. Now there's 26, and
right.
It's too much for him to handle mentally. So with that, Jim Jones decided this was going to be the final white night. The plan was to put Larry Layton, which was Carolyn Layton's ex-husband. Jim just straight up stole Carolyn from him. Larry Layton.
That's the guy we said it's like Dwight on Walking Dead, right?
Yeah. So
I'm going to take your wife and I'm going to not replace her, and you're going to get an iron inside of your fucking face.
So the plan was that Larry Layton would pose as a fake defector, and as soon as the plane was in the air, he would shoot the pilot in the head and bring the plane down. But now that there was more defectors, Leo Ryan was figuring out a plan. He got on the radio at Georgetown and had them send out another plane. So now there's two planes, and he couldn't guarantee that Larry Layton would be on the same plane as Leo Ryan. And then at the last minute, Leo Ryan decided he was going to stay behind in case anyone else wanted to leave. So everyone's leaving Jonestown to take these defectors back to the plane, and Leo Ryan was like, well, I'm staying. I'm going to see if anybody else is coming with me.
You think he senses any danger at this point?
I don't know. It's like
is this Red Brigade?
I thought that the first time I was looking at these notes, I was thinking, like, why the fuck would you go down there? But then again, we're looking back in retrospect, and like you guys said, he probably wasn't expecting to get in.
Yeah.
In this much access and this close. With that much chaos, I think you have to sense a little bit of danger.
Yeah, was this Red Brigade? Why can't I say this fucking word? Red Brigade, the armed Red Brigade following him around. Did Leo Ryan see them?
No, there was none of that going on.
I also thought the same thing when he ate dinner with them. Like, what if they're trying to poison you and you're going to sleep there when everyone else left? Like, that's either he didn't sense it or he was ballsy and wanted to get some sense of fear so that he can use that for his congressional hearing. I don't know. Or he just may be a brave dude.
Well, like we were talking before while we were on break, while we weren't recording, he had heard that there was bad shit going on in one of the prisons in his district back in the U.S. and he got himself...
I heard you saying this, yeah.
Yeah, he got himself thrown into jail anonymously to see what was going on there. So
right.
I think he's just a ballsy dude.
That's when I was looking up the photos of him. That wasn't during one of my 19 piss breaks tonight.
I think he just...
It's a peek behind the curtain.
Was a little bit too brave for his own good here in this situation.
All the good ones are.
Hey, he's an American hero.
Yeah, I didn't know a lot about him. I'm going to look this guy up.
He was going hard. He was going hard on the CIA at this time, trying to figure out what they were doing. And he's one of the few that actually...
You think there's a few books written about him? There's got to be something.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'm just curious to whether he spotted the danger or not. Sounds like he didn't and could have made a phone call and got some sort of backup on the scene.
I don't know.
Well, it would take a long time for somebody to get there because you have to fly in from plane or take a boat.
I suppose.
How does that make him look if he's bringing in protection? and he's coming down here to like see these people who don't have protection. I think he could be one of those people that if he truly cared, he wanted to show, hey, I'm just like you. I'm here. I want to help you. I think him coming with protection makes him look different. Maybe makes him look not approachable. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. I'm literally learning this as we go tonight. So
yeah, I mean, it's hard to read the situation on the ground.
Sure, that's why I would like to look into him more.
Because I mean, throughout the story, we've heard about this Red Brigade who's armed and following Jim around all the time. Like, were they in hiding during this whole time?
All the guns were put away. Everything
that makes sense.
All the quote Bibles were put away.
It just seems like you would sense an underlying danger here, I guess, but maybe not. You know.
Well, so coming out of this, I want to read the biography of Leo Ryan and the autobiography of Mr. Muggs. So that's what I'm going to do. My follow up to this episode. Get ready for a bonus episode. Mike's review on those books.
Mr. Muggs had time to write his autobiography.
Mr. Muggs was a workaholic, though, and they can't build at night because of the jungle cats. So when he wasn't being the head foreman there, he had to do something at night. I think he was writing his memoirs.
I think he was a fucking Guyana chimpoon.
Well,
he was doing
not as much as he would have liked, as he made clear to us.
So it's not clear on whether or not Jim Jones gave the orders or not, but a guy named Don Sly, who once he got to Jonestown had changed his name to Ujara, walked up to Leo Ryan and said, "Motherfucker, it's time for you to die." And he held a knife to Leo Ryan's neck, but he hesitated, and he was wrestled away by Tim Carter and Jim's lawyer, Mark Lane. And in the process, Ujara cut his hand, and it sprayed Leo Ryan with blood. So when you see the pictures of Leo Ryan with blood, it's from Ujara's hand.
So at this point, do you think Leo Ryan senses some danger?
Oh, yeah. After he
he beats it the fuck out of here after this.
Yeah, there's video of him. The NBC video has him coming out of there. He's got his shirt unbuttoned. He's got blood on his shirt, and he's walking up to he caught up with the tractor trailer with everybody leaving, and it's like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So on Jim's command, he sent the Red Brigade, his security team, to go kill Leo Ryan, and he got on the ham radio and called Jonestown, because they had like a mini embassy set up there. Like the People's Temple had this like mini office thing, and he gave them the following code: "A lot of people have gone to see Mr. Frazier. I think Mrs. Brownfield has offered to help."
All right.
So, in translated, that means people are dead and it's time for revolutionary suicide. There's an interesting tape, too, that has the American embassy, two guys, I can't remember their names, from the American embassy, they intercepted that code. And they're like, this is something. This is code for something. What the fuck does this mean? And they're like on the phone trying to figure this out. It's an interesting phone call to listen to.
I bet.
So his son, Stephen, and Jim Jr. were at the People's Temple office in Georgetown when that call came in, and they knew exactly what it meant. And Sharon Amos, one of Jim's most loyal followers, was there and relayed the message to San Francisco.
Wait, is that the ugly girl that couldn't get on the fuck schedule?
No.
Oh.
Patty's in Jonestown.
Patty.
How old at this point are Stephen and Jim Jr.?
20s.
Okay, so they're adults.
Yeah.
So who's Sharon? What's she doing at what's she doing in Georgetown?
She just ran. She was like head of that office in Georgetown. So Stephen got on the radio, and he stayed on the radio all night with San Francisco, making sure that nobody else went through with this.
So do we know how many people were in San Francisco?
I'm not sure. I think he was like
not thousands, right?
No, I mean, because all these people had their own houses and things, you know, a lot of people, but he was making sure that this didn't go out to anybody else. And I mean, he's on interviews and stuff saying that he wanted to get back there and stop it, but there's no airplane, there's no boat, and he didn't have any weapons either. So, and he knew that his dad had all these armed people around him that would fight for it. So
yeah, they shot at him in the jungle. Yeah, he knows.
So while him and Jim Jr. were trying to figure everything out and talk on the radio and get everybody, to try and get everyone to relax, Sharon Amos snuck into the bathroom with her 3 kids and a man named Chuck Beekman and slit her kids' throats. And 3 kids. She had 3 kids. She slit all 3 of their throats and then slit her own throat.
Terrible.
Yeah.
What about Chuck?
He was actually arrested and charged with those with all those
Wow.
Good.
with that because he didn't stop it.
What was his purpose? Like, what did she bring him in for?
I don't know.
I guess we wouldn't know.
Like an eyewitness?
She wouldn't. Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, they were in that.
Maybe he was supposed to kill himself too, and he cowarded out of it.
It's like,
I
that
don't-
doesn't look fun.
Yeah, I don't
wanna
want
do that.
this.
That's a fucking brutal way, especially doing it to your own throat.
But doing it to your kids.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'd rather do it to myself. But that, yeah, terrible.
Yeah, and it's something I didn't know too that was in that Terror in the Jungle documentary was Jim Jr. said that their niece was in there with them, and they broke down the door in time as she was in time to save her, and that she still has a huge scar on her neck. 'Cause,
shit.
Yeah. Back at Port Kaituma, Leo Ryan had been able to catch up with everybody and was unharmed. One plane was already boarded with people, including Larry Layton. And as Ryan was boarding the second plane, the Red Brigade pulled up and started opening fire on the congressman and the reporters. Down the runway, there were 3 Guyanese soldiers guarding a broken down Guyanese airplane and just watched it as it went down. And I could see where they're coming from on that.
I mean, if I'm one of those Guyanese soldiers, I'm probably like, fuck this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not getting involved in this American bullshit.
Yeah,
Gringo shooting gringo.
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
good.
that.
Like this could be an international dispute or something, you know, like fine,
course.
I'm not getting involved in this.
How many shooters in the Red Brigade? Like, what are we talking about?
There's mixed. It's like 6 or 8.
6 or 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Larry Layton took the cue from the Red Brigade and started firing inside the plane that he was in, and that was mainly defectors. He wounded Vernon Gosney and Monica Bagsby, who were the people that passed the note, and then he aimed the gun at another defector's face, and the gun clicked, it misfired, and they were able to wrestle it and get away from him. But he didn't even have to do that. His purpose was to be on the plane with Leo Ryan and take that down. He didn't have to start shooting all the defectors and stuff. I mean, he took that upon himself.
Like, he was supposed to wait till they were airborne, shoot the pilot, right?
Right.
Take the whole plane down and kill
Yeah.
the congressman.
And the main thing was to kill Leo Ryan. He wasn't even going to be on the same plane as Leo Ryan. He didn't have to do any of what he decided to do.
Dick.
So the Red Brigade, they had left 5 dead. It was Leo Ryan, NBC's Don Harris, and NBC sound man Bob Brown, newspaper photographer Greg Robinson, and Temple defector Patty Parks. Not the fuck schedule Patty. Another Patty.
That's too bad.
And then there was 9 more wounded. And you could tell who they were instructed to kill because they went up and made sure that the reporters were dead, and especially Leo Ryan, because they went up and shot him multiple times, including close range at his face to make sure. God. Back in Jonestown, everyone was calmly called to the pavilion, and people would just assume that Jim wanted to talk about what had happened that day because he was really calm. He wasn't freaking out. But as everyone got there, armed guards surrounded everybody at the pavilion, and Jim started recording the death tape. And if anybody listens to the death tape, it has this just this kind of ghostly music in the background. And there's a lot of stuff out there saying that Jim started playing music, and there's like a lot of shit like that out there or there was like a choir singing. It's just because they reused tapes, and it was a tape that had music on it, and it had been reused multiple times.
That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, it just sounds, it's like, well, you listened to the tape.
I did.
Yeah,
It's strange.
It's got that real warped kind of music going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's creepy. So as Jim spoke, Dr. Larry Schock got the poison flavor aid ready. And
grape, right? Grape?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Muggs, he wouldn't have liked that. Where was Mr. Muggs at this point?
I don't think we want to know the answer to that question, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know when exactly the animals were killed, but
Mr. Muggs.
All of them were killed. Larry Schock had been working on this for months, and like we said before, the people that were drugged into the zombie state in the special care unit, they were the guinea pigs for this, trying to figure out how much it would take to kill someone.
So
quickly.
they killed people testing it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh? Fuck, man.
Yeah.
All those people sent to get drugged, zombied up.
And this is just a crazy statistic on it. All it took to kill all these people was 1 pound of cyanide, which they had the receipt for. It cost them $8.85.
Yeah, it's cheap.
To kill 1,000 people.
Yep.
Almost 1,000.
So, and on the tape, you can hear it as as reality starts to set in, and people are starting to see what's about to happen, this woman, Christine Miller, got on the microphone and started to protest the suicide. And she asked Jim why they couldn't go to Russia like he promised. He was able to get around the fact that it was never an option because members that were close to him were shouting her down. Yeah. Then the Red Brigade returned with the news that Leo Ryan was dead. And with that, Larry Schock brought up the vat to the side of the stage with syringes filled with the Flavor Aid, and the children were to go first. And parents that protested were forced by armed guards, and with the syringes being shot into the mouths of their kids. And and you can hear Jim on the tape too, give them the choice if they want to go with their child or not.
Is it really suicide if you force them to do it?
That's why I was saying in the first episode that hopefully, I was able to convince you guys that it wasn't a mass suicide like it's portrayed. Even the people that went willingly, they've been fed this shit for a year in the jungle.
There's a lot of people on that tape willing to do this, though.
There are a lot of people so think about the tape, though. There's a handful of people that are just professing their love for Jim up until the end. But out of 909, that's only a handful of people.
So if we're talking... So here's my whole problem with this thing. They're essentially murdering their kids in front of them. Mm-hmm. And there's 6 to 8 Red Brigade armed guards.
No, that whole thing was filled with like people that were extremely loyal to him that were willing to do this. That whole thing was surrounded.
But I guess if it's me, and I do have a hard time putting myself in this situation, but even if there's an armed guard, do you not at least try to attack the guard? It doesn't seem like they did anything.
Well, you can hear people in the tape screaming and him saying
but screaming and protesting is one thing, but do you think they...
I mean, they might have been fighting. You don't know. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. I understand what Dave's saying too. Like, I would be shot. I would not kill my kid. Yeah. I would be shot because I would charge them or do something.
Right.
I would be holding my kid and I would just go after them.
Yeah.
And then shoot us
both
down.
Like, I'm going down
fine.
fighting. I'm not going down watching.
I wouldn't be able to poison my kid. Yeah. Or myself too. That would be, I would just go down being shot.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to determine that what actually happened based on an audio tape,
right? Yeah.
So I don't know. I just.
I mean, you're
not sticking a syringe in my kid without me attacking somebody. It's just not going to happen.
And maybe that did happen, and could that have gotten just cut out?
Well, the tape has tons of edits on it, and the tape's only 45 minutes long, and it was estimated that this took 4 hours.
So maybe it did.
So something could have, it's very likely something broke out and Jim Jones turns off the recording and deals with it, does whatever, and then turns it back on.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll get into in a little bit here, what some of the survivors said happened.
Okay.
There are different accounts of things.
Quite frankly, I probably go with Jim Jones and I stick something on the side of his neck.
Yeah. So, regardless of what he says on the tape, how it's painless, and Maria Katsara says it's painless, cyanide poisoning causes you to have convulsions and your mouth fills up with a foam that's a mixture of saliva, vomit, and blood, and you just suffocate from the inside out. And it takes like 5 to 20 minutes to die. And it's like you said, it is crazy with the tape that while this is happening, there are still some people that are talking about how great Jim Jones is and how great the revolutionary suicide is.
Revolutionary suicide. I don't know.
And I looked it up from I think it was the last episode we talked about. It was Huey Newton that wrote the book. Yeah, it was
the Huey Newton book.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what you're accomplishing here.
Well, because on the tape too, he keeps saying the GDF, the Guyanese government, they're going to come in and they're going to kill everyone. He's saying that on the tape. So, and everybody's been groomed at this point with all these white knights. And with the whole 6-day siege, with all the gunfire and shit, that this is revolutionary suicide. It's time to lay our lives down.
Because if you really believe the Guyanese government's going to come in and slaughter your kids, you're better off killing them yourself.
That's what he's saying in the tape.
The mindset.
I think in this, what Ian's saying is, I agree with that, in that these people got to this point now where they hang on every word Jim Jones says. They believe everything he says. So now they think they're all going to get killed. So it's better to do things their own way and go out their own way.
That's why I have such a hard time putting myself
Right.
in their spot.
Well, and then the problem is the fact that these people got to themselves to this spot
Yeah,
is a whole
exactly.
other debate.
It's
and
fucking
something-
nonsense.
Yeah.
On the tape, you can hear Jim say something to Marcelin. He says something along the lines of, Marcelin, you have 40 minutes. And then it edits. And then Maria Katsaris comes on and starts telling people to get in line, calm down, assuring them that the kids aren't crying from any pain. It's just bitter tasting, which is...
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's why they're crying and their mouth's foaming. It just doesn't taste well.
So I have a question. I listened to the Death Tape this afternoon, and Mr. Jim Jones has quite a bit of a lisp during this whole tape.
Yeah, he's all fucked up.
Is it because he's fucked up? Because I never heard it before.
Yeah,
he's like thuathide.
Yeah, he's all drugged up,
Okay.
and it's like, and we'll post the picture on Instagram. The picture of him, he looks so worn out, and at that stage, and I think it's just a mixture of being worn out, fucked up on drugs, and now shit's hit the fan, and he's not in like preacher mode, Jim, where he's saying everything perfect. I think it's like the veil kind of comes down with how he's talking.
Yeah, he was frantic and lispy, and
it wasn't not typical.
It was completely different.
Yeah.
The in Marcelin, when she got to Jonestown, they had a full like nursery with incubators and stuff. That's what I was saying before in the last episode. It's amazing what they were able to build in the middle of the jungle. It's crazy. But she was in charge of taking care of the babies, because there were babies being born in Jonestown, and this is Tim Carter's recollection and Steven, which was on the radio and stuff, that the part in the tape where Jim's saying, he starts saying, mother please, lay down your life with your child, but don't do it like this, that it was Marcelin having to be held back, and she's the one in the background screaming. So, like I said, she tried to do what she could from behind the scenes, but any power was taken away for her. So as stuff started to become more real for people on the tape, Jim starts rushing everyone, telling them to hurry up. The Guyanese military is going to come and kill them for what had happened. And like we were saying, there's tons of edits on the tape, so it's hard to put down a timeline, because he had a pause and start button on the microphone. But and who knows how long it took to kill all the kids, because there was a little over 300. But towards the end of the tape, you can hear Jim start saying, "Get the vat with the green C, and the adults can start now." Go ahead.
No, so they just stood around watching the kids foam at the mouth and die, more or less.
Well, obviously,
it looks like some of the
they're
parents,
great human beings here.
Looks like some of the parents, did it at the same time as the kids, but
Yeah.
for the most part of it, must have been a bunch of adults standing around watching them poison kids.
I had a few other questions. So I emailed Fielding McGee from the Jonestown Institute about the tape, some other stuff the other day. And he answered stuff the best he could, but he said anybody that tries to tell you exactly what happened or what was going on is full of it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that you can't, the tape is such chaos in the background and from survivors' points that you can't, you're never going to really know what happened.
That makes sense.
I think that's one of the big things for me with Jonestown too, why it interests me so much. I look in is because it's like, are you going to find like the one key to what happened
that everyone else overlooked?
Yeah, or something.
Sure.
But yeah, so all in all, at Jonestown, 909 people died from the cyanide poisoning. And the actual number of survivors that were actually in Jonestown for that totaled 7 people. So getting into who survived actually being there, there was an elderly woman named Hyacinth Thrash who heard the calling for the White Knight to come to the pavilion, and she said, fuck it, I'm not going. I'm sick of it. And her sister told her that you need to go because you're going to be in trouble if you don't. And she said, I'm not going. I'm done.
That's smart.
And she just hid under her bed and fell asleep and slept through the whole thing. And she woke up.
Good for her.
Well, I mean, think of how that would feel.
Amazing.
But that's like being at the end of the world. Almost.
Well, then when you wake up, that's a surreal experience.
You wake up and come out and everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Stanley Clayton, Odell Rhodes, and Grover Cleveland Davis all avoided death differently.
Awesome fucking name, Grover Cleveland Davis.
Stanley was
two-time president.
Yeah.
2-time.
Stanley was able to sneak away and hide in the jungle with all the chaos, and he just hid there till it was all over. Odell Rhodes told the guards he didn't want to die, and for whatever reason, they let him through and told him to have a good life. And
Jeez.
great. And he hid in the ditch, and he just hid through the whole thing.
I wonder if he had
ditch.
like some kind of like buddy relationship with the guards.
He said no. He says no. He just said, I don't want to die today. And they said, have a good life. See ya.
That seems very odd to what the guards had always stood for and did.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. This is all, there's so many questions with stuff because there's all these different recollections of these people all have different accounts of how things went down.
Maybe they just assumed he'd die in the jungle.
Maybe. Yeah.
So they're like, have a good life.
Probably. That's a good point too. They're probably like, yeah, good luck with
good
the
luck.
jaguars and the poisonous
Right.
frogs and shit.
Yeah.
Tim Carter, Michael Carter, and Mike Prokes were given a suitcase full of cash with pistols. Maria Kitsaris gave those to them. She said that Jim had given the orders for this. She told them to take the cash to the Russian embassy in Georgetown and kill themselves if they got caught. With an out, Tim Carter went to go find his wife and his child to get them out of there, but they had already been poisoned. Ugh. And that one's crazy too, like listening to him talk about it, because he found them as they were dying. And he said that his wife, the quote from him was confused. He said she just looked like, what did I do, or what's happening? You know, she just, so
brutal.
Like I said, accounts of what happened kind of vary. Odell Rhodes said he saw people refusing and being forced, being injected. And then some people were taking it willingly. Stanley Clayton said that he saw the majority of people being injected, and there is evidence of that. People were found with bent syringes in them, and
those might have been the ones that struggled or weren't going willingly. They were just attacked.
Yeah, a lot of people, and they had like abscess from getting them. And I mean, they said there was in their arms, their neck, the top of their head, like just basically, it's not like in a frantic situation wherever you could stick somebody with it. And there's different opinions on, or different recollections on gunfire and stuff, and maybe that could be a bonus episode down the road about all the questions with some of this stuff, because you go
there's
down
a lot of
rabbit
crazy
hole.
theories, right?
Yeah, and there's different things. You know, Stanley Clayton says that he heard machine gun fire while he was hiding in the jungle at night because he was waiting, and there's all kind of different stuff.
Interesting.
But the last group to die was the leadership and their children, who they all died in Jim's cabin. They drank the poison, some injected it on top of drinking it. And that's, I don't know if it was like a I'm more committed than you are type thing. I'll do both or what. Yeah. But Jim Jones was found in the pavilion, shot in the head, lying on his back with his head rested on a pillow.
So he wasn't in the cabin. He didn't die in the cabin with everyone else.
Nope.
The leadership.
Nope. He didn't drink the poison either. And I think he probably saw how miserable it was for everybody else dying.
Yeah.
The only other person that's confirmed to be killed by a gunshot wound to the head was Annie Moore, and it's assumed that she's the one that killed Jim Jones and then went back to the cabin and killed herself.
So this fucking pussy, after all this, couldn't even kill himself. He had to have someone else put one in his head.
Of course.
This fucking guy.
Yeah, he didn't do it himself.
Unbelievable. And
according to some of the survivors that were hiding, hours passed before they heard the gunshot that killed Jim and the gunshot that killed of Annie killing herself. And it almost seemed like Annie Moore had been given the job to kind of tidy things up, or, you know, any loose ends, or
maybe even destroy some things that they didn't want people to find.
Yeah, or you know, kill anybody else that was left. I mean, who knows what she was doing. Mm-hmm. But she was found in Jim's cabin with everybody else, and there was a suicide note next to her. It's a really long suicide note, but the last line says, "We died because you would not let us live." There's 918 people altogether.
Meanwhile, no one really gave a fuck.
Yeah, people were letting them live just fine.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other thing, too, is that, you know, they gave that money to Tim Carter to go take to the Russian embassy. And there's theories on that, too. But they had a rough estimate, like a modest estimate, was that they had about $8 million altogether. But they had been taking money to offshore accounts that it's estimated to be like $30 million. He could have ran this for a long time. I mean, he could have...
He could have used that money to actually feed the fucking people,
right?
Build more housing and make it like a nice little utopia for them.
So who got the offshore account?
It's debated.
Really?
It's debated, yeah. The family members at the end, because there's about 13 million, or I said 8 million, there's about 13 million that was like confirmed money and assets, but 9 million of that went to the cleanup effort to clean everything up.
Really?
Yeah. And so, because family members were like filing suit, against the People's Temple and stuff. But yeah, no one knows. And Jim had a Bible, an actual Bible, not guns, that had all the banking information in it. But
what happened to that Bible?
No one knows. And all that money and all those off-seas accounts has never been found. But I mean, he could have ran this for a long time. I think that, and there's stuff that I glossed over with this. But I mean, you can go, if anybody's interested, read Road to Jonestown, because it gets into it that he just couldn't admit that this socialist utopia, this communal thing wasn't working out the way that he thought it would, and he would end up it was a real possibility he would bankrupt this thing before he died.
Yeah.
And he would just be known as some fucking asshole that went to the jungle and failed.
So it was all pride.
Yeah, basically.
It's almost the whole sum of this 3-part story.
Just the worst.
It's an egomaniac.
I just have a lot of mixed feelings about all these people. I don't know.
I think that you could say people in the U.S. leading up to this point, you could have said you need to get out, maybe, you could say like you maybe need to, you had the chance to get out, but I don't think anybody here really, I mean, they didn't have a chance,
I agree with that. I think once you you had a chance to get out, but it was going into a jungle. I probably would have done that, but I understand that that's probably not a realistic option for, a third of them were kids, a third of them were senior citizens, and the other third were starved, famished people. So I understand that when they got to Jonestown, but the whole getting to that point is still what I get stuck on, is just how can you follow such a not good human being? We'll say it that way.
It's a mild way to put it.
I censored myself for the first time ever on this show, on this fucking show.
So yeah, that's the story of Jim.
So that's
Jones.
Jonestown in about 6 hours or less.
Yeah, it's a long one.
It's an interesting story, and I learned a lot more than because you grow up hearing about Jonestown and this and that. And, I learned a lot that I guess I didn't know, a lot of the details.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It's interesting.
I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know jack shit about Jonestown. So I thought it was interesting. I found this to be very frustrating 3 episodes with all the lying and the bullshit and people getting duped and following it, sometimes blindly, and just the ways he would manipulate people and people would be manipulated, and then the way they would treat other people. So it was frustrating, but it was very interesting.
You could, that's the thing with this too, is there's all these unanswered questions. You could sit there and go over stuff forever, with it. I want to give a big thanks to Rebecca Moore and Fielding McGee that run the Jonestown Institute. I mean, it's crazy the amount of information that's there that they've put into it with all the Freedom of Information Act requests, and
we'll tweet out their link too to that website.
Yeah.
So who are these guys? Like, how did they get involved? Are they related to this story at all? Or are they just interested parties? Or
Fielding McGee had a family member that was involved in the People's Temple.
Okay.
And then Rebecca Moore is the sister of Carolyn Layton and Annie Moore.
Okay. Wow.
So
that's pretty close. Yeah.
So yeah, and then another thank you to Fielding McGee for being quick to email me back over like the past 2 years. Anytime I've ever had a question,
and you've had lots of questions, I'm sure, as you do your research.
He gets right back to me every time. So,
and I'll bring it up again because you won't, Ian. You are published on this website for your article you've written. One thus far.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another one this year.
Is there a direct link to your article that we can post out?
Yeah.
So we'll post that too, Ian's direct link, and then you can also check out the Institute's website if you're interested in looking into more. It seems like they're pretty, the people who run it are pretty friendly with, if people have questions, they can email them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you can get all your questions answered, much like we did today with our chimpanzee friend.
Special thanks to Mr. Muggs for stopping by the studio today. Great insight into the whole situation.
All right, Ian, it's your chance. Anything else you got on Jonestown? I'm sure you got a lot more on Jonestown.
I could do like another 2 or 3 episodes on stuff. I really glossed over stuff to keep this.
But like you said, maybe in the future we'll do like a bonus episode talking about some of the theories or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anybody is interested on Instagram or whatever about anything specific or a specific tape or something, feel free to comment and I could probably direct you to.
Do you want to throw out your Instagram account?
Yeah,
you guys haven't done that yet on here.
Yeah, my Instagram is IAN_Namapod.
Ian_Namapod.
So yeah, I mean, if anybody has any direct questions or wants to know what tape is what or something, I could probably help them out.
Dave, any last thoughts? Jonestown, social medias, anything?
No, I have mixed thoughts about this. Brutal. It's a terrible story.
It's not fun. I got a couple shout outs too before we wrap up on Instagram. A couple of these are a few weeks long overdue, but Paul Alexander and Liz McCombs, thank you for the shout outs on Instagram. And then on Twitter, In a City Like Yours podcast, they're always throwing us out on like the Follow Friday. So I appreciate that. And anytime anyone asks for a podcast to listen to, they're mentioning us. And then Joe Spotso is always retweeting us and reaching out to us on Twitter. So thank you to all of you guys. Ian, I think you got a couple too.
Yeah, I got a couple iTunes ones. Hillbilly Dubs, I Hate the Circus, and Ladybug Girl 18 left us really, really good reviews. It's awesome to see people that are that interested and listen to us and are enjoying it.
Yeah, and then actually the rating and reviews on iTunes, for those of you who listen to us on Apple, those really, really help us out. They go a long way to getting us on the new and noteworthy and bring a lot of extra attention to us on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. So if you have an Apple phone, please leave a rating and a review for us because it helps us out tremendously. We are at Twitter, Instagram, and on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Necronomipod. Facebook, also Necronomipod. Hit us up. Let us know what you liked, what you disliked, your thoughts on Jonestown. And if you have any other comments or feedback on the show, we love to hear from you guys. So we appreciate you listening.
And we're going to end it a little different tonight than we normally do. We're going to end it with the last recorded words from Jim Jones. Are you guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.
Take our life from us. We laid it down. We got tired. We didn't commit suicide. We committed an act of revolutionary suicide protesting the conditions of an inhumane world.